Listen, if you go on an interview and you're asked a question, answer the question. Don't shoot the messenger. So you don't have to listen to me. I'm just somebody that does interviews for senior leadership positions, okay? So I don't know any better. You don't have to trust my word as authority or anything like that, but I'm just mentioning a couple of things that probably would help you get through the interview process a little bit easier. My pet peeve is when I ask a question and the interviewee doesn't answer my question directly. Like you take me around the mulberry bush, you know? It's like you want to give me a whole journey. Just answer the question. I don't have time. We all have attention deficit sometimes in our adult life. And if you take me on a joyride, I'm not going to make it to the end. I promise you. You're going to finish talking. I'm going to sense that there's a period because you stopped. And I'm not going to know that in that long explanation, there was an answer. And most times there's not one. You're just talking to, or not you, I meant them. They're just talking. And I might ask difficult questions, like questions that aren't the norm, because I want to understand their expertise, how their experience transfers to the need of whatever that position is. So I may ask questions that really get down into the depths of your experience. But that's what's troubling, because if I'm asking questions that basically highlight your expertise, why are you taking me on a joyride? Why are you just not giving me the answer? I know people are saying the job market isn't plenteous and that roles are scarce and hiring is, I guess, like on a low. But I'm interviewing and we're looking for valid candidates and I can't find them. I'm finding candidates. I think it's important during interviews for you to strike a balance between conversational and technical. It should feel real fluid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't have to wonder whether or not you have specific skill set because the conversation should lead there. I mean, it is an interview. I don't think it's bad to have a prepared ideal of where you want to go. And I know people prepare for interviews, but you can't assume that the interviews that you saw online or with ChatGPT, you can't assume that those are the same questions that the person who's interviewing is going to ask. Nonetheless, I think it's important to have something in your bag. You still have something where you can share. I mean, they're going to ask you about your experience. So why not curate some points that would highlight exactly what it is that makes you a appropriate candidate. When you're on these interviews and you're interviewing with the hiring manager, I think it's important for you to understand whether or not you're reporting to that person because yeah, you need the job, but I think you also need to be assessing whether or not the person that you're going to be reporting to is someone that you can work with. If you're feeling the person is coming on too strong, they're too cold, they're too direct, it's a no. I have been on interviews myself where I'm, exchanging conversations with the person interviewing me, and I'm just like, yeah, this dude ain't, that ain't it, bro. You ain't it, okay? I need a job, not your job. Because I understand like there's an organizational chart, but that organizational chart doesn't define whether or not I'm respected. If you're interviewing and you feel like the person that is on the other side of the screen or other side of the table isn't someone that you're going to gel with, you're not interested in that job, okay? The job that I'm in now, I appreciate not having to talk about the salary in the interview. Like, we leave that up to the recruiter. I don't want to talk about your numbers. I really don't. I don't. I know you need the numbers. You should get the salary that you are worth, but talk to recruitment. Don't talk to me about that. Talk to the recruiter about the salary before you speak with the hiring manager. If you have developed a career path that's strong and solid, chances are that you're in a specific industry and the world is small. So everybody in that industry at the level that you're in regardless of, what organization, if you're in the same state, the same metropolitan area, chances are y'all know each other. So it's probably in your best interest not to speak ill of the hiring manager or the organization unless you really intend not to get a job there for the rest of your career. We know each other, we create relationships. It's really easy for us to filter through our LinkedIn or even contact list and find out if you actually are who you say you are, not so much in paper like your resume, your CV, but who you say you are in the workplace and what you're saying that you've done as far as your experience. I would leave flattery off the table, okay? If you're impressed by the person that is interviewing you, I want you to hold that in your heart, okay? I need you to keep that concealed because you don't know if it's going to make them feel uncomfortable or make them wonder if there's an ulterior motive here. Do you think that this flattery is going to result in a job offering? Just don't share it. Please don't. You can fangirl or fanboy in the privacy of your office. Just don't do it in the interview. Avoid name dropping, okay? Unless the person's name who you're dropping referred you to interview for the role, don't say their name. Don't say their name because you don't know what association that person that's interviewing you has with the person that you're name dropping. And that may not be good for you. What do you think? Your association to that person is going to get you the job? So then every time there's a problem, you're going to think that you should get some preferential treatment because you know said person. I would just leave the names out of the interview. And if you can't do it, just leave it out of my interview. If you come to the interview and I'm on the other side of the table or the other side of the screen, don't do it because I don't know that you're going to get the job. I mean, you may. I'm not sure. We haven't had the interview yet, but chances are I'm not going to like it. I'm just saying. Presentation is everything. How you present in the interview is going to definitely influence whether or not the person who's interviewing you trusts you. Please make sure that you're appropriately dressed, that you are groomed. That should be the obvious, but some people don't know. If you need to stop and get a breath mint before you come into the interview, please do that because once the door closes and your breath is circulating the room, I'm going to have a hard time listening to any of the answers because I'm trying to hold my breath and probably on the verge of fainting. Unconscious. I'm just saying. You don't know what the person who's interviewing you is looking at, okay? Your shoes are scuffed up. Maybe those are not the shoes you should wear on the interview because somebody's going to want someone that looks like they're together. Somehow, the person who's interviewing is falsely going to associate that with it translating to something you're doing in the job. One thing has nothing to do with the other. I've seen some well put together people, and on the job, they don't know what they're doing, but they look great. They look great. When you come to the interviews, how you're presenting is going to definitely influence whether or not they trust you're the appropriate candidate for the role. If you're interested in the role and you've read the job description, you need to ask some good questions. What's day one going to be like for me? Who's going to be training me or helping me understand the norms, the risk, the opportunities? It's so important to bring your authentic self. I want to know that you're human. I also want to know the things that you aspire to be. Infuse that in some of your responses so that the person on the other side of the table knows that you're real. I'm not an authority on this subject. I'm just the person interviewing. If you're trying to get the job, I think if you take 3 or 4, 5, or all of my suggestions, you might be all right. And the last thing, and this is a disclaimer, don't send me a resume. Networking is important, but this is not a advertisement to send me resumes. It's not. Please don't. Thank you. Always happy to help though. Just, all right. Now that's all. Bye.